Apple just announced their very first event of 2023, and it is set to be, by all accounts, one of their biggest and most controversial events of all time. We should see some massive updates come to the iPhone, Apple Watch, iPad, AirPods, Mac, and the headset is finally coming. For real this time? Well, maybe. There's a lot of drama about that we just gotta talk about. Let's break down the top 5 things we should expect to see from the biggest Apple event of the year, why this is gonna be so big, why it's so controversial, and also why Apple is caving to the trolls. Yes, Apple read your comments, and you guys in your criticism of Apple in the comments, just save the iPhone. Just a couple of months ago, 2023 was set to be like one of Apple's biggest years ever. We were gonna get this massive iPhone redesign we'd never seen before, tons of big updates to the Mac, and like 4 or 5 jam-packed events that would just be oozing with new Apple products. That sounded weird, but you get what I mean. Instead though, this year has been pretty quiet on the Apple front so far. We've gotten no real actual event, no major updates, and the only new products we got have been a yellow iPhone and sort of a new HomePod and slightly updated MacBook Pro and Mac Mini. So we got some new stuff, but really not new. And there's been a lot of talk, a lot of questions, a lot of comments about when we're gonna see Apple's next big thing. When are they gonna ramp things up this year? When are we gonna get some major updates? And when are things going to get exciting in the Apple world again? Well, we've got our answer. The answer is in June, early June. Apple just announced their big event, WWDC, and there's a lot that we could see from this event, a lot of reasons to get excited, and also some new information that might make this one of the most disappointing Apple events of all time. Now, I should mention, of course, that as the name suggests, the Worldwide Developers Conference is mostly geared towards developers, and it's mainly been software. We get the big updates here for iOS, macOS, watchOS, tvOS, all that stuff is going to be here. And then there have been some years that we have gotten new hardware, like the MacBook Air last year and the Mac Pro a couple of years ago, and then some years it's a little bit more quiet. And according to rumors, things are shaping up to be potentially pretty exciting here, with the first major thing we should see is, of course, new software. Now, we don't know a lot about the specifics on the new macOS and watchOS and stuff like that. No real info on iPadOS as well, though I will say, as a longtime iPad fan that can't find my iPad right now, I love the hardware, I love what Apple's doing, but I think I speak for many when I say that the hardware is great, but the software is super limiting. Why do we have a Mac M series chip in there and no Pro apps, no Final Cut Pro, no Logic? When is Apple gonna really unlock and unleash iPadOS to be truly pro? Maybe that happens this year, maybe not. Your guess right now is as good as mine. Beyond that though, we do have some exciting info on the next version of iOS coming to your iPhone, and that is going to be iOS 17. Now this is a very interesting story because at first we had heard this was going to be sort of a slower year for iOS. It was going to be more bug fixes, more improvements, no shiny big upgrades, more of a understated year and a lot less flashy stuff. But now, according to a new report from Bloomberg, that's about to change. As of just a couple of weeks ago, Apple has changed course on iOS 17 and is going to focus on more of those flashy features. According to this report, Apple's going to focus on adding some of the hotly requested features from users, adding more nice-to-have convenience features, and really making this more substantial than we originally thought. And maybe this is like an innocent move. Apple just sort of realized they had more time and they could add more things than just add polish. Or maybe this is because Apple is feeling the heat, feeling the criticism, and they decided they needed to respond. What I mean by this is that not only has this sort of been a really quiet year for sort of big flashy announcements for Apple, but also given the fact that the headset looks to be having a lot of issues, more on that in a moment, and iOS 16 has been a very bumpy road where they announce features months and months ahead of time and then are sort of late to release them, maybe they want to sort of change the reputation of iOS and sort of cave to the pressure, cave to the trolls a bit, and give the people what they want. So many of you say, I want bigger features, I want a redesign, I want something new, and Apple apparently is listening, and they are going to build those things into iOS 17. As to what those things could be, well, we really don't know, but get more excited and more pumped for iOS 17 this year, because it looks like, according to rumors, it's going to be a bigger release than what was originally planned, probably thanks to you. Number 2 kicks off some new products we should see at this event, some all new hardware, and that could be the introduction of a new, larger, more affordable MacBook in the form of a new 15-inch MacBook Air. Now, if you look at Apple's current laptop lineup, it's great and all, but it's really expensive if you want a bigger screen. Your only option right now, if you want something above, let's say 14-inch screen size, is to go up to the 16-inch MacBook Pro, which is really versatile and powerful, but it's thousands and thousands of dollars. If you just want to browse the web, you like a Mac OS laptop, you don't want an iPad, but you want a bigger screen laptop, now you can save yourself a bunch of money because a new 15-inch MacBook Air should be coming to you very soon. Rumors say this is probably going to be what you'd expect, so it's not going to be a big design change or anything, but basically just a larger version of the MacBook Air we got right now. And the MacBook Air actually just got a redesign last year, WWDC, so this computer still looks sleek, it's modern, it does have the notch, but it's got a great screen. It should be nice for those of you looking for a larger canvas to do your work on with this new, more affordable MacBook Air. All right, now I can't go any further without hitting on our number 3 new product we should see at this event, and that is the most controversial, and that is the headset. Now, since we last discussed the headset on this channel, there have been a lot of new developments, and actually a lot of bad developments, because what we just heard a couple of days ago at this point was that Apple just showed off the headset to the company's top 100 executives at sort of a private event, a private Apple event in the Steve Jobs Theater, so like a real demo live and in person. And the response from Apple employees, like the top level executives, has been sort of mixed. Unlike other hit Apple products like the iPhone, the iPad, even the Apple Watch at this point, many executives are worried that this might just not be a successful new product for Apple, and that potentially it could flop, either being maybe slow to gain traction like the Apple Watch was, or just being a total miss because, well, a couple of reasons. It's going to be too expensive to launch, rumored right now of a price tag of $3,000, maybe even more, maybe $4,000 is what we're hearing as of right now. It's going to be sort of limited to having a tethered cable to the battery, so it's not going to be a fully wireless experience. It could have some battery life issues, and also it just sort of is lacking a killer app or killer feature. It's going to have what we're hearing right now is like this virtual iOS interface, maybe FaceTime, maybe some kind of app store, but those who have seen it and have played with it are not convinced it has that must-have feature or that must-have quality that's going to make people run online or run into stores and spend thousands and thousands of dollars to get this on their heads. And the controversy continues, because for years and years we've heard that Apple is working on this. So we heard it was going to come last year, then we heard it was going to come this year in January, then in the spring, then the latest crop of rumors said we would see this at WWDC, which would make sense as Apple tries to sort of get developers on board with this. But now, just today, we've got a new report from Ming-Chi Kuo, who says that now Apple might not actually, after all, show off the headset at this event, and they've now pushed back the launch until sometime later on this year. And I know many of you guys in the comments have been very critical of this. You don't see the need for this, you don't care about it, so you probably don't care about it at all. But for those who are excited to see Apple's next big thing and really see what Apple has been working on for a long time, this is sort of bad news after bad news after bad news. Now, we haven't gotten a definitive answer, and there is totally a scenario where Apple shows this off in June at a limited capacity and then releases more information, or really releases the whole product later on this year. Or there's the chance that due to a lot of different issues and the fact that this thing just isn't ready, according to those who have seen it, Apple delays this yet again. Maybe they show it off sometime in the fall, later on in the summer, and we just hear nothing about it for another couple months. Moving on to number 4, let's talk about something a little bit more realistic. Some new AirPods here, with 2 potentially new models here, AirPods Max and maybe AirPods Pro. According to Apple analyst Ming-Chi Kuo, Apple is regretting a USB-C version of AirPods Pro that should be launching soon, so probably no big hardware update besides swapping out Lightning for USB-C. That'd be cool. And then we've also heard rumors for a while that Apple could be readying the launch of new AirPods Max. These would have some new colors on the outside. They get the new H2 chip inside for better audio processing. They get better noise cancellation, active transparency. Basically, they'd be updated to match AirPods Pro in the premium over-the-ear experience that AirPod Max is known for. Finally, last but not least, the one product that makes a ton of sense to actually see at this event is the all-new Apple Silicon-powered Mac Pro. Now, this has gone through a lot of different rumors the last couple of months. First, we heard that Apple was going to put the M3 inside, or maybe an M2 Extreme chip. It was going to get a huge redesign to be smaller, more like the small cube. And now it looks like that probably isn't going to happen. It looks like, as of now, Apple is going to stick with the M2 Ultra chip, probably in here at least, as the top-end chip. And the design of the Mac Pro isn't actually going to change all that much. It's going to be basically the same body that we've got right now with Apple Silicon inside, and then maybe less upgradability and less expansion because Apple Silicon has its own limitations. We're not exactly sure what this Mac Pro is going to be and how it's going to be better than a Studio and stuff like that. But we should be learning more soon. And this has been teased, like I said, for a while. It makes sense to sort of gear this to developers, show it off at this event. So hopefully a new Mac Pro finally is coming in June and should be showing us the best that the Mac line has to offer. All right, everybody, so I'm curious, what are your thoughts on WWDC 2023? Are you excited for the software updates? What do you want to see in iOS 17? Your thoughts on the headset? Will we see it? Will we not see it? And what do you want to see from Apple at this event? If Apple had the opportunity here to really show off their roadmap of software and hardware, what they were planning, what do you think they should show? What's the killer feature they need to show off? And what could they do to maybe win you back into the ecosystem or get you excited again about the iPhone, AirPods, iPhone you've got? Let me know your thoughts down below. As always, I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much. I'm Robert Rosenfeld, and I'll see you all in the next one.